If you have a pen and paper, grab it. I'm going to have you write a few things down, take a couple notes. Number one, you need to be committed. You have to be absolutely committed. You have to be committed to your craft. You have to be committed to the script. You have to be committed to making sales. Everything comes down to commitment in this. So number one, you have to be committed. You have to set some goals and some KPIs. You have to set those. If you worked for somebody, your sales manager will expect that you have reached your KPIs and your goals every quarter, every half year, and every year. Okay, if you didn't meet them, more than likely you'd be fired. Okay, so treat yourself just as if you were working for somebody. Okay, don't shortchange yourself just because you're working for yourself. Now, the next thing you need to do is you need to write out a schedule. And what do I mean by that? A schedule for your whole day, your week, your month, and your year. So you should have schedules written out. And you need to have a starting time that you stick with on your schedule and an ending time that you stick with on your schedule. This is key. This is all part of script mastery. You have to master your schedule. You have to master your time. So be a complete miser of your time. You don't want anyone else taking up your time. You want your time for you. So do the best that you can with the 8-10 hours that you're running every day. The other thing here is don't give in to that little bitch voice in the back of your head. That's that little voice that gives you an excuse every time you want an easy way out or you want a way out. That little excuse maker, you have the angel and the devil. Well, the devil is that little bitch voice. He's the one that's saying, hey, you had a great day today, Gabriel. Take the day off. Go to the pool. Go relax. Don't listen to that voice. Whatever you can, push that voice away, okay? Now, you need to spend 30 minutes of mindset training every day. This is a must. I highly recommend a few books. Number one is Think and Grow Rich. If you read it before, doesn't matter. Get back into it. Read it again. I mean, you should read Think and Grow Rich at least once a year. Another book, great book to read is a book by an author named Og Mandino. The book is called The Greatest Salesman in the World. You should read it. That book takes 9 months to read if you do it the right way. It takes 9 months to read. Okay? And it will help you be very, very strong, mindset strong during the tough times. Like, guys, sales, script mastery, phone sales, this is all a mind game. The universe wants to see how long you're willing to put in your dues before they're going to make you wealthy or rich. And they're going to test you every step of the way with no sales, with chargebacks. Every second you're going to be tested. It's your job to make sure that your mind is strong. And a great video to watch on YouTube is a video called The Strangest Secret in the World by Earl Nightingale. So write that down. Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret in the World. That's a 30-minute video alone. If you just watch that every morning for 30 days, that's your 30 minutes of mindset training taken care of. And you will be a different person after those 30 days. I guarantee it. Okay? So put a 2 in the chat if you wrote down those books and videos. I'd love to know if you guys wrote that down and that's something you're going to go back and look at. Huge difference maker. Okay, now I know that you guys all hear me talk about this all the time, and it never changes. Okay, you're an actor. You need to know your lines. So you got to study your script. Take pride in what you do. Study your scripts. If you don't take pride in what you do, you're not going to study, right? So when people get on the phone and I hear them on live dials and they sound like poo-poo, dog poo-poo, you know what? I know that they haven't studied their scripts. So just like an actor prepares, you need to prepare. So put a 2 in the chat if you think Tom Cruise, any one of these big actors, if you think they take pride in their work, if you do, put that in the chat, because they do. So they study their scripts. Just like if you're going to take this serious, study your script. The way that you can really be good when you're new and you're just going to start out is to read your script from front to back 25 times before you ever get on the phone. So why do I say read the script 25 times before you get off the phone, before you even get on the phones? Real simple. If you were to cold call all day for 5 days in a row, you should have 25 presentations. A presentation means you went through the script front to back. So if you read that script 25 times before you ever hit the phones, that's the equivalent of you pitching all day for 5 days in a row. And I'm not talking making a few dials. I'm talking hitting the phones, making 500 dials a day. You should have 5 presentations a day if you hit the phones all day long. Okay? So 25 reps before you even hit the phones. Now, you're not going to have that completely memorized, and I don't expect you to. You should print out your scripts, okay? Print out your scripts. Have it on your desk at all times. Because when you're going to know your intro better than anything, because you're going to say that so many times, you're going to get hung up throughout the course of the day. So as long as you keep it with you, you can go back to it, and you want to have it there because, believe it or not, the script I'm going to go over with you is the straight line method. The same method that Jordan Belfort uses, all the stockbrokers use, is a straight line method. I'm going to go over that with you. I'm going to break it down so that you understand it. But the point is, you have that script in front of you. The client is going to give you an objection. They're going to take you off the track. You're going to have to isolate, overcome that objection, and you're going to loop them back to the script right where you were. Now, it's not your job to be some smarty pants that knows everything. It's not your job. Your job is to stick to the script, because if you know everything, you're not going to sell anything. If you stick to the script the way it's written, you're going to sell a whole lot. Okay, don't be smart. Just be completely committed. Like I said in the very, very beginning, be completely committed. Okay, the next thing is invest some money into a high quality Bluetooth noise canceling headset, just like you see I'm wearing. It doesn't have to be the same one, but the reason I say that is because you want to stand up while you're pitching. You want to walk around. You know that motion creates emotion. You always hear me say that. Motion creates emotion. And if you're walking around and you're talking, guess what? When they give you objection, you're going to speak. You're going to be able to get your words out faster because you're standing, walking around. Very good point to know. If you're walking around, you're going to get your words out faster. You're going to win most of those battles. And what do I mean by winning most of those battles? When that client objects, they're testing you to see if you're a professional. If you're a professional, you're going to have a memorized rebuttal to handle that objection. They're going to feel really good about you doing business with a professional, not some weakling that they handle over the phone and then they hang up on. Or have you hang up on them. That's the worst thing you could do, is hang up on them. This is a game. And if you make it about a game and it's all points to you, you'll have fun doing this. And if you start having fun doing this, you'll make a lot of money, guarantee you. When I'm on the phone and I'm really hitting it hard, I'm having a lot of fun. Okay. So you're a professionally licensed 215 LH&A underwriter. You are a professionally licensed 215 life, health, and annuity underwriter. You need to believe in yourself. Have conviction in everything you say over the phone. And never, I mean never, not even for a second, ever think of yourself as a telemarketer. You're never bothering anybody from your phone call. You're a licensed pro doing these people a favor by getting back to them about their needs. They had questions. They filled out a form. You're getting back to them. If you believe that you're a telemarketer, guys, there's really no point for you to even be on this call tonight, even training or anything. If you don't have belief in yourself, then you need to go work on that. Okay? And that's mindset and believing in who you are. But if you really think that you are adding value to people's lives, you're selling them something that you personally own, that you have conviction in, that you believe in, don't worry about the objections, the nastiness, nothing like that. Hey, look, it's built into people to be nasty to people they don't know. And if you don't believe that, just think about when you were a kid. Your parents raised you, stranger danger. Don't talk to strangers. Look, we are programmed in this head of ours to go to school for 12 years, get a high school diploma, go to college for 4 years, and then go get a job. That's our programming. You can't destroy that programming, but you need to put in place a new program. And that new program is, I talk to strangers all day long. I help strangers get what they want. I help them get what they want. Have you ever heard the saying, help enough people get what they want and you'll get whatever you want? It's true. So everyone is programmed to tell you no. It's your job to memorize your scripts and your rebuttals so that you'll be unstoppable. Okay? Just remember that. If you're with me, if you're following me, please put a 5 in the chat so I know that you're with me, so that I know that you're all about putting the work in. All right, guys, great, good, love seeing that. Now, you don't necessarily need to memorize your script. It's not needed. Once you do the 25 times in a row before you get on the phones, you got a good idea of your script. As long as you have it printed out with you and it's with you, you can always go back to it. You kind of got a good idea of where everything's at, okay? In a script, your script is just like your house, okay? In your house, there's a living room, there's a dining room, there's a kitchen, there's a bedroom, there's a bathroom, garage, back patio, okay? Your house has a layout, so does your script, okay? Like, your intro, your agenda, your qualifying questions, your building credibility, the financial inventory, the close. See, those are all different rooms in your script, just like your house has all different rooms. The thing that you have to memorize is you have to memorize your rebuttals and your word tracks. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Those are your bullets in your gun. That's what's going to keep you sharp and make you different than anybody else. So everybody that's here, if you have the pen and paper written down, a lot of you guys do go on to my other trainings, so you know this. But if you don't have it written down, write it down. I already got it taken care of. You need to have 2 of those memorized. 2 different, I got it taken care of, memorized. You don't have to use mine. You don't have to use it. You can use whatever one that you like, but you have to have 2 of them memorized, not just 1, 2. Okay? Because they're going to say that I already got it taken care of, maybe sometimes more than once. So you have to have another rebuttal. Okay? I'm not interested anymore. You need to have 2 of those memorized. Whatever 2 it is, this isn't an objections call, so I'm not going to go over those, but you need to have those memorized to the point where somebody says something to you about it, you can fire right back and handle it. You need to have, I never filled anything out. You only need 1 of those. I never filled anything out. You have to have that memorized. Some of you veterans, I know you guys know it like the back of your hand. Call me back. Don't ever fall for call me back. It doesn't work. You have to have a memorized call me back. Don't fall for call me back. You're going to hang up that phone. You're never going to hear from them again. It's only going to take 5 minutes. We're just going to see if we even get you approved. It's not going to cost you a dime. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm a licensed underwriter. Just see if I'm getting you approved. No money. I don't have any money. You have to be able to overcome that as well. That's a smokescreen. You have to overcome that. It's got to be in your arsenal, memorized. And two more that I really think you should have. You need to have something for getting personal information, whether that's social security number or banking. You got to have something to overcome that. If you can't overcome that, then use Crankwheel, that the plugin in Google, and do it that way. All right. And then please have I need to think about it memorized. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. There's so many ways you could do it, but I need to think about it memorized. You have to have that, because a lot of times what's going to happen is we're going to get to the end of the call and we're going to quote and they're going to say, I need to think about it. Now, I'm going to break this down. This is the final expense script. So this is the meat and potatoes. This is the script mastery. This is what everybody wants to know, okay? Here's my introduction. John, this is David. I'm getting back in touch with you in regards to the information you requested online about the state-regulated final expense and burial programs. Did you ever get that taken care of, or are you still shopping around? That's my intro. Now, my intro has a trap built into it. They're going to go down a path here, and that path is, hey, they think they got me, or they're going to tell me they're shopping around. So if they think they got me, they go, nope, I already got it taken care of. Why do I have it set up that way? I have it set up that way so that I know exactly what rebuttal I'll always need. Okay? And if they say I already got it taken care of, not a problem, John. That's probably why they got me calling out. I actually specialize in folks like you that already got something taken care of, put in place, save a ton of money. Would you be opposed to saving a ton of money? No? Okay, great. Then we go to the next step. All right. So, that's my intro. There's a reason why it's set up that way. And then I'll go into the next part. The next part is my story. Okay. This is my story. I want to tell them a little bit about me. I can, and let's just say they say, yeah, I am shopping for you. Okay, I can help you out with that. I'm a state licensed underwriter. That just means that I work with all the A-rated carriers in the state. My job is twofold. Number one, to make sure that I find you the best option available. Number two, make sure that option is affordable and fits inside your budget. How does that sound? They're going to say that sounds great. Okay, fantastic. That's all we do here. I'm just telling them about me. So now I'm not a stranger anymore. Okay, we're letting down the stranger danger a little bit. The next part is the agenda of the call. I don't want to kidnap this person for the next 20 minutes. I want them to know what's going to go on so that they don't feel kidnapped. All right. And basically, I'm going to tell them that, hey, look, the goal here is, the process here is very simple and it only takes a few minutes. I use a system called simplified issue. That just means nobody's coming out to your house to stab you with any needles or to make you do any physicals. I'm going to ask you some basic medical questions. Depending on how you answer those questions, I'll know which carriers are going to give you the best rates. Does that make sense? And if you notice, we're getting done with most of these sections, and I'm saying, does that make sense? Do you understand that? The reason I'm doing that is because I'm creating yes momentum. After they're done saying that, they're saying yes. So they're getting used to saying yes to me. So that's yes momentum. So I introduced myself. I did an introduction. I told them a little bit about me, my story. Now I went to the agenda. This is how my fast system goes. Then I'm going to go into the qualifying questions. These are the most important part of the call. This is where they start feeling comfortable with us. This is where they start doing the majority of the talking. If they're talking, they're feeling comfortable. It's very, very good to do that. Okay. The next few questions that I ask you, answer them as accurately and honest as possible. This will allow me to better serve you. Now, have you been trying to get this taken care of for a while, or am I the first one you've spoken with? They're more than likely gonna unfold some information like, hey, a bunch of people have been calling me, or no, you're the first one. But most of the time, a bunch of people have been calling them. Okay. And then we go right into it. Are you a smoker? Any issues with COPD, lung disease, stents in the heart, cancer, diabetes? They say yes to diabetes. Let's ask them if they've ever had any complications from those diabetes. Okay. What medications they're on, any kidney or liver issues, stroke or heart attacks, any anxiety, depression, or schizophrenia. Are you using any oxygen, walkers, wheelchairs, taking any painkillers? Are you on any prescription medications at all? Any recent hospital visits in the last 2 years? What's your current height and weight? Fantastic. Okay. Now we've got a lot of information. We know where to go with them as far as an application goes. Okay. So if you're with me, you're going to that application already when you're at this point in the call. Okay. And you're going to give them a quote here soon, but you're already in the application filling some information out. And then at this point, you're telling them to go ahead and grab a pen and paper. You want them to write down a few numbers for you. Okay. Go ahead and let me know when you're ready. Great. First, I want to give you my name. My name's David, and my last name is Fredrickson. You could spell that 3 names in one. Fred, Rick, Son. If you have a difficult last name or a long last name like I do, come up with something funny or easy for them to remember you about your name. Easy way to say it. Next, I want you to write down my badge number. That's 20, 21, 23, 24. Go ahead and read that back to me. I want to make sure you got that correct. I've got this highlighted here for a reason. It's very important that you ask those questions or you say those statements because you want to make sure that that person is tracking with you, that they're listening to you, they're doing what you told them to do. Because if they can't repeat that information back to you, that means that they're not interested. And sometimes at this point in the script, you can bring them back in and get them interested. They'll go, oh, okay, I didn't really have a pen and paper, and they'll go and grab one. And then you can get them really back on, okay? So that's another way for you to make sure that you do have control of this call. Very good. Midpoint statements or questions to ask to make sure you're still in control. All right, with that number, you can go to the Department of Insurance website and find me. And that way you know that my licenses are active and my fingerprints are up to date. I want you to know that you have the same type of confidentiality with me as you do a doctor or a lawyer. In layman's terms, if I stole a candy bar when I was 7 years old, I'm not talking to you today about life insurance. Does that make sense? Great. So there's more yes momentum there at the end of that. And then we're going to uncover the why. This is the next section. So in this section of uncovering the why, so John, what's got you motivated and looking for life insurance now? Sometimes they're going to just tell you everything that you need to know right there with that question. But a lot of times you're going to have to really dig. And if something were to happen to you and the good Lord called you tomorrow, who's going to be that person that really steps up and takes care of your final expenses? Get that? And then if they don't give you a whole lot with what motivated you, loop back to that. Okay, so you want to make sure that that Jen is taken care of. Fantastic. Let's make sure that she's taken care of. Now, go back to her and say, is the reason that you're getting this is because of Jen? And just loop back to it and really kind of pry. If you don't get something put in place today, what kind of impact would that leave on Jen, on your beneficiary? Oh, great question. What kind of impact? And sometimes you have to re-ask that question a couple times, or just say, maybe you don't understand the question impact. Like, does she have the $20,000 in her back pocket to take care of your final expenses? Can she afford that? No. So would she have to get a GoFundMe, or maybe even worse, go get a credit card or a personal loan? Okay. So if she did have to get a personal loan for this, maybe they only give her a loan for like 5 years. You know what 5-year loan for $20,000 would be? No. Probably about $340 a month. Would she be able to afford that for 5 years? No. Okay. I know we need to get something put in place. All right. Now, everything that they're saying here, write it down. And then I want you to summarize it back to them, repeat it back to them, and get them to acknowledge it. And if you can, even try to go a little bit deeper. This part's the most powerful part of the whole thing. If you don't get this part locked down, there's no reason for them to move forward. They'll just listen to your quote and hang up on you afterwards, okay? So this is the part that I really lock down as much as I can in this part of the call, okay? Now, financial inventory. This is another section where it's very good to ask every question that I have here. These are great questions. Now, the insurance company is going to ask me, so I'm going to go ahead and ask you. All I'm doing with that statement is I'm taking the pressure off of me, and it's on the insurance carrier, okay? So they won't be offended if I ask them any tough questions here because it's on the insurance company. Are you working, retired, or on disability? Perfect. What's a ballpark figure of your monthly income? Great. And are you paying off a mortgage or currently renting? Do you have anything like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, IRA, 401k, or money under the mattress? Now, if they're working or retired, it's a good chance that they do have money like that. If they do, write that down and ask them how much money's in those accounts and write that down. That's for a conversation after the close. Now, do you manage your own finances? And they'll go, well, yeah, I manage my own finances. Well, what the insurance carrier is asking here is, do you pay your bills with a good old-fashioned checking account or a credit union? And, oh, I use a checking account. Okay, great. Who do you bank with? It's a great way to get the banking information right there, that question. So it's a good one. If you're not currently using these little tactics right here, definitely recommend use them. And I'd kind of stick to them straight word for word. Now, the next portion in the script is removing the other person. There's always this other person when you get down to close. So after financial inventory, I always put this in this section in. Now, besides yourself, is there anybody else in the decision-making process of you buying life insurance today? No, they always, no, I do it all my own. Okay, great. You mean to tell me you don't need anybody's permission to buy life insurance today? No, I told you already, I don't need it. You may feel like this question is hard to ask. It's not. Really simple question to ask, and you'll have a lot of fun with it if you start putting it in there. The reason we put this in there is because when we close, we don't want them to go, well, I really should talk to my daughter about this, or I really should talk to my wife about this. Let's get it out of the way. This way, if there is anything to talk about, they'll tell us. Yeah, that's right. They all laugh. They all laugh when you ask that one, John. That's right. So it's get it out of the way, put it in there, start asking the hard questions now. And then before we go into the close, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be explaining the app and the approval process. And this is where I gather the social security number. And I always gather the social security number before I give the quote. It's the way I do it. It's not the way you have to do it. It's the way I do it is because sometimes it's hard to get that social. And the leverage that you have is the quote, the number. Some of these people, they stayed on the call with you this whole time because they really do want it, but they're just shopping around. So they might hang up on you. Now, I'm going to give you a secret later off of everything I just told you when I'm done doing this. So, okay, the next step here is the MIB check. That just stands for Medical Informational Bureau check. This is where the insurance companies are going to use the last 10 years of your medical history and pharmaceutical history to make sure that you're insurable. Are you okay with me doing the MIB check? Yes. So very, very good to ask, are you okay with me doing the MIB check? That's almost like saying, are you okay with giving me your social? So they say, yeah, I'm okay with you doing that. Okay. I'm just going to verify some of your personal information. I should have put personal. Some of your personal information here. verify their address, the birth date, their email, the phone, the cell, and then ask for the social. So it's just like, hey, are you still over at 123 Main Street? Fantastic. Is the zip code still 333333? All right. Is your birth date 1/1/1941? Fantastic. And your is this your cell phone 555-555? Okay, perfect. Give me your social. Perfect. Okay. Uh, once once you have all the numbers, you're ready to start the closing process. Okay, so you already have quotes already set up because you really should be already in the app, and you're just waiting to get the social right there so that you can do the text message with America or whoever, whatever company you're using. So that was the last piece of the pie. You already know what the numbers are. You can always go and change those numbers. So at this point, you're probably going to let them know, like, hey, there's a 6-digit authorization code that's coming over to your phone through a supported portal. Just want to make sure you get that. Perfect. They get that. They give you the numbers. Excellent. Okay, great. Now, see, now this is where you go, okay, great. It looks like the system just gave me some numbers for you. I want you to write them down. Okay, first I want you to write down $30,000. Underneath that, I want you to write down 20,000, and then underneath that, I want you to write down 10,000. Do you got that? Okay, perfect. Now, this first policy, 30,000, it's a little more than you really need, but it's plenty to take care of the burial and a funeral and leave some money behind for your beneficiaries. This is going to cost you about $100 a month. Now, underneath this, the $20,000 policy, most smart people go with this. It's more than enough to cover the burial, funeral, and leave a few bucks behind for your beneficiaries to get by in those early days. This policy is going to cost you $80 a month. Now, just under that, this 10,000, I want you to write down 10,000. Next to that, I want you to write $60 a month. This is our most basic plan. It's meant for those that are on a really tight budget. Okay, out of those three options, which one would you like to see if you can get approved for today? Perfect. Now, let's just say it says, I want to go with the 20,000. Fantastic. John, how do you title your accounts? With a middle initial or just the way I have it here, first and last? Okay, perfect. And then that's it. You're closed, right? You're pretty much going through most of the questions with them on the app. At this point, you can go and read the rest of the questions that you didn't ask in the pre-questioning. But what I want you to do is, these guys that fall off or don't get approved and you have to go back another day, what you're going to have a list. And John Mooney's on this call right now, so I know he can attest to this, but you're going to have a list of people now that you have all their information and their social security number. You have so many people that gave you everything, but they didn't close. So what you're going to do is on Fridays, you're going to do your first dial session in the morning. Usually you're probably dialing from 8 to 11. After you're done with that 8 to 11 dial session, you're going to stop dialing for the day. And you're going to do your next 2 dial sessions are going to be full of the 20, 25, 20, probably 20 presentations that you did that week that didn't close, that you have all their information, all their why, all their social security, everything. These are buyers that hung up on you. And more than likely, they hung up on you because they're shopping. And you're just getting back in touch with them later in the week, letting them know that they still have an open file. And you're just checking in with them to see if they wanted to close that file or if they wanted to finalize it. Okay, and you can do whatever you want. I usually say, hey, you're still in the early advantage window, and that just means that you're getting that promotional rate that I gave you last week. This is the end of the promotional rate. After this weekend is over, it goes away. Actually, as a matter of fact, after Friday, it goes away. So it's just a last minute ditch effort to make sure to see that, if we could get you in for the promotional date. Now, You know, a lot of times they'll say no, sometimes they'll say yes. It's just up to you. You've got so many leads that you can go through, and there'll be some from last week that you tried to call that didn't want to close their file or just wanted to push it off. You can call them again too. You're going to have a certain amount of people. So um, on your dial session on Fridays, stop it early and do this. This is really going to help you bring your CPA numbers down. Really, lower your CPA numbers. Your cost per acquisition is going to lower because of that. You spent all week getting all this information. Utilize it. Get them. Try and see if you can get them on the books. Now, I went through every step in the script process there, the way that I do final expense. Now that's my fast pitch. I can go from start to finish on that pitch in about 30 minutes. I have a longer pitch that I use as well. Does anybody have any questions on anything that I talked about earlier about the pitch?